Hello and welcome to SentinelOne presents Cyber Superheroes, unveiling the unsung heroes of security in association with ETCISO. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar and welcome to what promises to be a really riveting conversation. We're going to talk about superheroes. You might be confused. Let me explain what we're doing here. Now, in an interconnected world that we live in today, security is not just restricted to the physical borders where we have our jawans, our armed forces guarding us, but is also seeped in very seamlessly and almost on a day-to-day basis into the digital realm. So who guards us there? And that's where the roles of CISOs or Chief Information Security Officers really comes in, who take on that role silently, guarding their organization through different challenges day in and day out. And in fact, we have one such superhero joining us today. Meet Mihirr Thaker, who is the CISO at All Cargo Logistics Limited. Mihirr, thank you so much for taking our time and welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So as I said, not many people know about your superhero powers, and we will get to that in just a bit. But as we said, right, security, traditionally, when you think of it, you think of national borders, and that's where it's pretty much restricted. But over the last few years, we know how that definition has really changed, right? Today, security is all about what's happening with our data, what's happening with privacy, what's happening as far as cybersecurity is concerned. And that's where the role of CISOs like you come in. So let's begin from there. Where do you get your superhero powers from?
I mean, the way you are expounding on superhero, I think in the today's time, for us as humans, being a superhero or a superhuman is not as important as being a human first. By being observant, by being observing the place where we live in, our families, our professional life, I mean, on the same context, for a cyber resilience and cyber protection of the organization also, it is important for the CISO to make sure that we know what our estate is, where we live in, where we operate, I mean, and then define strategies which will help us protect. And our chairman also calls out it very clearly that the cyber security experts are like the NSG commandos who come for a specific role and then they are done with their mission.
Yeah.
So that's the role of a CISO in the organization.
So I want to understand, since you talk about very specific superhero powers that is needed for the role of a CISO on almost a day-to-day basis, is there a particular superhero where you see that being an inspiration for you or where you take a lot of inspiration from?
I mean, as a superhero, the best example of the superhero we all know from the Indian context is Bhagwan Hanuman. The role that Hanumanji played in Ramayana and at the war when it was with Ravan, how Hanumanji made sure that the objectives of the entire mission were accomplished in a manner that identifying where the crown jewel was, Sita Mata, and making sure that the coordinates were informed in a timely manner, such that then there was a force which came in and there was a battle which happened. So, and the entire history also says that Hanumanji himself didn't remember his superpowers. It was somebody who had to be, remind him of it. And I think, again, going back to the point that being human is super, and just being to the basics, making sure that you look at your estate, do a proper Reiki, in a more positive context, do a profile of your infra, and make sure that you look at protection of the crown jewels where they are situated.
But you make it sound so easy, right? But it's far from that. Because as I said when I introduced the segment as such, which is that the world that we're looking into is so unpredictable. We've seen massive outages in the past. The world came to a standstill. How do you prepare for a future that is so unknown, where every day can be so different? I'm sure that keeps you up at night, right? So, I mean, what is the kind of, I don't want to call it fear, but what is the kind of thought process that goes in thinking that how do I ensure that our tomorrow is protected?
Sure. I mean, again, taking another example from the favorite subject in India, which is cricket, and the god of cricket, another superhero that we know, Sachin Tendulkar, when facing a delivery of, Wasim Akram or Waqar Yunus at that speed and then hitting a great boundary may look very simple, but behind that goes a lot of practice. And that practice in form of the net practice is also required for CISOs to make sure that you perform vulnerability assessments on a timely manner, you identify your critical assets appropriately, adopt controls on those, and then continuously make sure that you improve. As far as staying awake, yes, we are also prone to a lot of anxieties and insecurities per se. Yes, that can be dealt with by being connected with the subject, making sure that you put your part in the entire effort, and then as the famous Bhagavad Gita preaching is, that you make sure that you do your part and then leave the result to the entire karmic cycle. And yeah, if you have done your practices well, again going back to the point around vulnerability assessment, vulnerability management, penetration testing, and there are a lot of jargons. I try to avoid using jargons to keep the conversation very natural and normal, and that's where we focus on.
So interesting, you said, right? You said because today it's not just the work that we're doing is interconnected, but our life and work is also interconnected, right? So do you see the impact of working in an atmosphere that is so agile, that is innovating each day, that is changing each day? Does that take a toll, and how do you strike that balance?
Absolutely. I mean, getting too much identified with the role at times can become burdensome. Uh, to look at the scenario, I myself approach each day as the first day at my work. Now, what are those things that we experienced at the first day right after our college and getting into the professional life was some kind of excitement, looking forward to something, that you will gain out of that, you will learn out of that. And that kind of approach helps in making sure that you do the basics right in terms of course, the first day job, you want to make sure that you don't commit some
And you get the best impression out as
yeah,
well.
yeah, the first impression is the last. So it's more of being on dot, making sure that you prepare well and then make sure that you execute it in the appropriate manner.
But let me use this in a case study. And the reason that I was asking you was because let's go back to what happened a couple of months ago with that massive outage that happened. Everything stopped, right? All our lives, our work is on the digital realm, which completely stopped. We saw the biggest powers trying to fix it, but nothing really happened, right? So how do you prepare for a situation like this? Can you really prepare for a situation, or does it give you some sort of lessons to how to tackle it when a situation like that happens?
Being prepared for a situation like this, yes, absolutely. One has to be continuously focused on having learning practices put in place, be it simple aspects of incident management, having a crisis management plan. Those are the basics that you prepare for a situation like this. But the day that situation occurred, it was catastrophic in a way where businesses were impacted a big way. And as a practitioner, cybersecurity practitioner, the key is communication to the stakeholders in a timely manner, that what is the scope of that outage, how is our business impacted, or yes or no, and then making sure that you also interlock with the various vendor partners, making sure that if there is a need of a recovery. I distinctly remember that day I just was in a flight Almost the time that that incident occurred, my flight had taken off, and just as soon as I landed at my destination, people were asking each other. There was messages being exchanged, and the first thing was to contact my team. Empowering the team, the point that I wanted to make here is that empowering the team is also important. That is possible by a proper delegation of responsibilities. As a CISO or as a human, it is very natural to say everything I will do, but that's humanly not possible. Taking a cue back from the game of cricket, a wicket keeper, a fielder, a bowler, a batsman, everyone has their distinctive role. The best part of it would be that each team player plays their role and gets us a winning combination. So that's how we prepare and would look at.
I think that's very well put, that when you take on the role of a leader, you should also know that the team that you carry makes you the leader that you are, right? So I really like that. That's very well put. The other aspect, Mihir, that I want to discuss with you, of course, is this buzzword that we all live with, which is artificial intelligence, right? Which is, the jury is still out. You love it, hate it, definitely cannot ignore it, right? It has taken all of our lives. Is it making it easier? Is it making it more productive? We leave that for the audience to decide. But from a cybersecurity perspective, right, how are you seeing AI change the game? What is the kind of improvements that you're seeing on a day-to-day operational level?
Absolutely. I mean, artificial intelligence, I'm not very okay to use the word artificial. Rather, I would want to call it as advanced intelligence. If we just change our perspective of looking at the thing, today we have been using automation, predictive analysis in various ways and forms. Now it is being called as artificial intelligence, AI. But that being used already, we need to focus on how it will play a role in enabling me to do faster things. Let's take an example from history. Back in time, when the first time a calculator would have been put on the table, it would have mean complex calculations being just done in few seconds. Did that impact adversely? Not. It helped rather us in the overall process of evolution as human beings. And yes, that's what AI is going to help us, especially in the cyberspace. AI plays a big role as far as threat detection, anomaly detection, and then follows the automation part of it in terms of fixing what we identify. And that's where AI has a big role to play, and really look forward to some more advancements where very useful use cases will come across. Initially, without calling it a AI, the SIEM was also playing the role of event correlation. Now, with the current advancements of threat intelligence, along with that, AI helps predict threats in a timely manner.
Yeah. You know, I want to ask you a broader sense of the cybersecurity space, just to understand where we're headed, which is, today, if I had to ask you the top 3 challenges that a CISO is worried about as far as cybersecurity threat in India is concerned, what would they be? Could they be organized crime, so on and so forth? Could you help us understand the top 3 big challenges as of now?
Sure. If we look at the actual threat landscape, how does an organization get compromised or get impacted? So there are 3 vectors predominantly. One being the phishing, where there is confidential information being unknowingly leaked out by the user. Second is the actual deployment of malware, either via a malicious link or some payload which has come into an attachment. And the third is the compromised credentials. So that is again linked to the phishing or any other ways by which a user just gives away the credentials. Or there are info stealers who could fish out like credentials from the devices. So those kind of things are the key issue. We can also call it as the holy trinity of the bad world. yeah, where these things make sure that there is some compromise. But yes, coming to your primary question, today there are threats which exist in your infrastructure before exposing itself or expressing itself before detonating. Advanced persistent threats that exist in the environment. Second would be around proper incident response to make sure that we don't go behind something which is actually a false positive, but rather look at what is the key thing that we attend. And then is the larger context of cyber resilience, where each stakeholder, so going back to the previous point that I was making, it's not that one individual or one team is responsible. Today, cybersecurity is the organization's responsibility. Senior management has a role to play. HR has a role to play. Finance, communication, operations. So each team have to come and play the role, and that these are the things that are crucial to look at.
You know, the reason that I asked you this was because when you know what your challenges are, when you look for solutions, you're looking for a partner or a vendor that gives you these solutions, right? So from a SentinelOne perspective, if these were your challenges when you decided to go forward with that partnership, what is it that SentinelOne brings to the table in terms of solving these problems?
Sure. Just as I answer that question, the first thing I would want to mention here is that it's very important for a CISO to adopt a champion and a challenger strategy always. Now, the thing is, today we may be aware of something which is the latest, but back in the saddle there would be a challenger who is available with various solutions for your problem. So to be aware of that is important. Coming to the point of SentinelOne, I have found their platform to be a platform which offers best of breed capabilities from endpoint protection, from managed detection and response, from identity protection, and various other things that they do. The unique thing that I found in the platform was the approach to how we can tackle incidents and the kind of information. There is a technical term they use called as deep visibility. So when you are able to look at a particular alert and then trace it back to the various reasons, I mean, it just becomes effective. And in the entire thing, the automated way of looking at things. So automation capabilities that the platform offers really made the difference for us.
So is there a superhero power of SentinelOne that integrates with your powers of a CISO?
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, these are very basic, if not looked at, may look like super. But the kind of effort the SentinelOne team has put into engineering and link it back to the incident that we were talking short while ago, their platform is built differently to make sure that one does not get impacted. And on that day, my first call was to the senior leadership of SentinelOne to ask them, how are we protected against this? And a very detailed understanding on this was provided. And we have to be continuously asking and being prepared.
But that's what a good partnership is about, right? You ask the right questions and you have that leeway to get the answers, even if those are uncomfortable questions, right?
And that's the unique thing that I've found in the SentinelOne team. For a tough question, there is never kind of a justification provided. People own up what the issue is and then try to genuinely put a solution across. It could be a work in progress item, but it is always a matter to be transparent and work together towards identifying a solution.
Perfect. Mihirr, this has been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did.
Thank you. I mean, it was an amazing dialogue. The kind of questions you have asked me has actually helped me find answers which maybe I knew, maybe I didn't know, but still I could answer. I hope I have answered.
As long as it's a start.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.